Thousands of people all over the world celebrated May Day under different circumstances, but with the same goal of economic and social justice. These are just some of the demonstrations that happened on May 1st, 2017, a day also known as International Workers' Day. In the United States, various political and social groups came together for a May Day rally in New York, challenging President Donald Trump's immigration policies and vow to step up deportations.
I believe that the concept of patriotism has changed from going to war to trying to defend democracy.
In Los Angeles, many pro-immigrant advocates marched downtown.
This is our country. We grew up here. I came here when I was 3 years old. I was raised here, so why am I any less American than they are?
Thousands also marched in Chicago, Washington, D.C., and many other cities in celebration of May Day and in opposition to the Trump administration. About 30,000 protesters joined the traditional May Day protest in Paris, united in their opposition to far-right leader and presidential candidate Marine Le Pen. Several also voiced distrust of frontrunner Emmanuel Macron.
C'est à la fois quelqu'un qui prône la haine, le racisme, la xénophobie, voilà. Et puis quelqu'un avec qui je ne suis pas d'accord, issu de la finance, et qui a mis, à mon avis, cette politique-là, elle a mené aussi à la montée du Front National.
Around 142,000 people joined May Day rallies across France. This year's May Day came less than a week ahead of the final round of a presidential election where voters must choose between the far-right National Front's Marine Le Pen and centrist Emmanuel Macron. About 10,000 Greeks staged an anti-austerity protest. Greece and foreign lenders continued talks on a bailout review that would lead to loans to repay Greece's massive debt. People of all ages carrying union flags, red carnations, and banners marched in the streets of Athens and rallied outside the Parliament building, calling on the government not to proceed with the reforms demanded by the country's European and International Monetary Fund lenders, which will further cut pensions and the tax-free threshold.
Η ελληνική κυβέρνηση και όλες οι ελληνικές κυβερνήσεις εδώ και 10 χρόνια έχουν πάρει συγκεκριμένα μέτρα, τα οποία έχουν μόνο μία κατεύθυνση. Το τσάκισμα των εργαζομένων και το τσάκισμα της εργατικής τάξης και των υπολείπων ανθρώπων οι οποίοι τσακίζουν.
Ferries were docked in ports as part of a 24-hour strike by seamen, and mass transportation was disrupted by work stoppages. The protesters said the continuing austerity measures that Greece has imposed in exchange for much-needed loans have brought society to its knees.
Τον εντάσσουμε στον αγώνα μας ενάντια σε αυτές τις πολιτικές. Ενάντια σε όλα τα κόμματα που σήμερα θέλουν να κλείσει η λεγόμενη αξιολόγηση. Η λεγόμενη αξιολόγηση που θέλουν να κλείσει από όλα τα αστικά κόμματα είναι η καταστροφή του λαού και των συνταξιούχων.
In Turkey, this year's celebrations follow the expulsion of more than 3,900 people from Turkey's civil service, military, and gendarmerie over the weekend. May Day protests are an annual event in Turkey and have in the past triggered widespread police action against demonstrators. The police presence was especially heavy across Istanbul after the president Tayyip Erdogan narrowly won a referendum last month, giving him sweeping new powers.
İş güvencesi olmayan 10 milyonlarca insanın iş bulma kurumu kapılarında sürünerek iş arayışlarına kulaklarını tıkayan bu iktidara bu 1 Mayıs'ın.
The May Day celebration in Chile was marked by divisions in the country's workers' movements, with the United Initiative Syndicate Committee breaking off and planning a march after that of the Workers' United Center of Chile. May Day celebrations in Berlin took place under heightened security, 4 months after a deadly truck attack on a Christmas market, which left 12 people dead. Police vans blocked access to the traditional May Day demonstration route as hundreds of people walked through the Germans' capital, Kreuzberg district. South African President Jacob Zuma made a hasty exit from a May Day rally after the crowd of workers that he was due to address chanted slogans against him. Zuma has become a focus of mounting public discontent over government missteps, rising unemployment, and a stagnant economy.
We are facing very serious challenges as a country, and we are facing serious challenges as a movement.
Venezuelans rallied in competing May Day demonstrations both for and against President Nicolas Maduro.
Para apoyar decididamente a nuestro presidente obrero, a nuestro presidente chavista, Nicolás Maduro Moro.
The demonstrators begin their second month of protest, demanding elections to try and end the Chavismo movement's 18 years in office. 29 people have been killed and hundreds have been injured in the unrest that began in early April.
Estoy protestando porque no tengo azúcar, no tengo harina pan, no tengo aceite.
Thousands marched in San Juan to protest austerity measures as the deadline approaches for Puerto Rico's debt restructuring deal. The island faces a midnight deadline to negotiate a debt-cutting agreement with creditors or open itself up to lawsuits over debt defaults. It could also file for a modified version of U.S. bankruptcy to protect itself.
Llevarle un mensaje bien claro al administrador del Fondo de Seguro del Estado que con nosotros y los trabajadores no puede jugar. Lo vamos a defender hasta las últimas consecuencias, que le quede bien claro y al gobierno también.
International Workers' Day was decreed in Paris in 1889 by the Socialist Workers' Congress of the Second International. It was a tribute to the Chicago anarchists executed for their participation in the Haymarket Revolt. Now, over 128 years have passed. The labor movement and the working class face the challenges of a market economy dominated by the 1%. But they also have new tools to use in their struggle. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, live streaming, and many other forms of communication are used to confront these barriers every day. The fight is no longer just in the streets. These are just some of the Mayday messages we picked up online.